All right, guys, what's up? AWA here, Airwar Order. I hope you're all doing good, man. On this beautiful Thursday night. Sorry if I'm a little late, guys. I am late. I admit that I'm late. I have a reason for that. I had people over, and I left a little bit later than I expected. So that's why I'm starting later than usual. But I'm glad you're all here, man. We're gonna be looking at Grace Randolph, and what we're gonna hear from her about Acolyte, this episode 8 of the Acolyte. We're going to hear her takes, her views, her beliefs on the Acolyte. What she thinks. Now, I'm a noob. I have not heard her breakdown, her thoughts to it. So I have not. So like I said, I've not have heard ahead of time her thoughts on the the season finale. I'll call it season finale, even though season 2 has not officially been confirmed. I'll still call it the season finale. I'll call it that because it looks like season 2 is going to happen. Whether you like it or not, it looks like it will happen based on the ending of this episode. All right, all right. So before we get into this, like, share, subscribe, comment below, and then we're gonna start this off. I'm not sure if my friend Blinded wants to come in to watch, because I'm pretty sure he kind of told me that he's taking a little break from streaming. But he said that yesterday and he still came in for the Marvel stream. But that's different. That's a Marvel stream. This is Star Wars stream. And why don't we get into it, man? Why don't we get into this stuff about Grace Randolph and her breakdown video? And please, do me a favor. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment below. Please. I really would appreciate it. I really would. Okay? All right, let's bring it up. I'm going to bring it up right now. Yes, this is a Tide commercial. And I will send an invitation for Blind. If he wants to come on, I'll let him come on. This is kind of a continuation from yesterday. If he doesn't, it's up to him. I really do like the new profile picture, by the way. I really do like it. But I think you're Ray subbed, aren't you? You better be subbed, man. Like it, please, too. It does help out get my stuff out there, though. All right. There might be some things I agree with her in here in this. All right. You see my name at the bottom. What's it gonna do? Okay. I'm gonna check something. All right, so let's get on with this.
How do I clean an aioli stain?
Use Tide.
What's the Tide, guys?
Do crabs have eyebrows?
15 seconds.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide.
Iams Kitten with essential nutrients to support
There we
healthy
go.
growth.
we
Iams
go.
for life.
I don't think
This
she's
is
gonna
a
like the
show that's
episode. I
supposed
can
to
tell she
take
doesn't like the
place
episode.
so long ago, and it feels
Okay,
like current.
okay, I skipped ahead.
Some of you
Sorry.
might.
I skipped ahead.
I know some of you.
I skipped ahead just to get a thumbnail, so I'm gonna restart from the beginning. I'm sorry. What? What? Yes, as you told me privately. All right, let's get into this.
Said, I saw when we were doing the live stream today, before we started, some of you said that you really enjoyed this finale, and then it pulled you back in, and I'm very happy for you. Although I don't think you're getting a season 2.
I think we are getting a season 2, but whatever.
We'll see. I mean, Star Wars is a glutton for punishment these days. But I wouldn't say that you should give in to the toxic hate, but I think there are certainly ways to not invite it. From choices that are made, but to the strongest of all, by making actually really good content that the other side can fight for. I mean, I just feel that this series ultimately became not something that was defensible. Again,
This problem, this series, it was very, very inconsistent. It has some good stuff and some bad stuff, and it's like I don't know. It's like Echo to me.
Some of you think that it is, but at the end of the day, it was almost like it was just manufactured for all the hate, like as a challenge.
Yeah,
like
I'm sure they decided to make this a challenge. I'm sure they decided, you know what, let's make this show and let's get hated on from. Yeah, that's what they want to do. Yeah, that's what we want to do, guys. Let's make sure we get so much hate. Sure. Believable. That's what some people will think, though. I necessarily disagree with her there. Some people think that, though. Not just her.
which is weird because it's a show about Sith. It was like, yes, let the hate flow through you. But you're like, oh, is that intentional?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just so disappointed. And the ratings are very poor. It's not like this is some great battle for the future of Star Wars that's being fought over here.
The
No
ratings are very poor. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
one cares. It's, it's unfortunate.
Oh, man.
Now, I think at the end of the day, this ended up being just yet another tease, which has become a particular problem. Hollywood's suffering from this overall. Kevin Costner, you teased with your Horizon 1. It's poor. I liked that movie, and I'm excited for Horizon 2 if I ever get to see it. But Disney Plus in particular, with their Marvel and Star Wars content, shows, and even a lot of their movies lately, we've been saying this. We always end up watching what amounts to an ad for the next installment, be it the next season or the follow-up movie.
Please, come on.
Then why did you make me watch this? The only moment that I thought was cool in the season finale was when Osha went over to the dark side. I told you what Saul did was really bad. Saul Jedi training. 0 stars on Yelp. Turned me evil. But yes, we all guessed that to kill without a weapon meant the Force choke. A lot of things that we guessed came true.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. She has a point there. It was the Force choke. Remember Osha putting on the Sith helmet? She said she saw May killing a Jedi without a weapon. Well, it turns out it was Osha killing Saul with the Force choke. She saw herself killing a Jedi with the Force choke. So she is right there.
True, but I feel they didn't feel like it wasn't satisfactory to see them realized, because they were realized in such a poor way that you were like, who cares at this point? But yeah, it was a Force choke, and Amanda Stenberg looked cool doing it. I'm going to say it later, but I'll say it now. She looked like she was entirely dressed by Zara. And I got to tell you.
She was trying to dress by Zara. Zara, the clothing company, sponsoring Sifs. Zara, sponsor Sif. I'll be quiet. I know you're subbed to me, man. I know you're subbed.
I liked her look a little bit, but it just seems so modern. This is a show that's supposed to take place so long ago.
Modern.
And it feels like current Star Wars, And it certainly doesn't feel like hundreds of years earlier. I mean, I'm surprised when they were doing the costume design for the show, nobody brought that up. And they were like, it looks like the current characters could walk right in here. We'll talk about Yoda and Darth Plagueis. Darth Plagueis, of course, not being a current character. But anyway. So, but what we didn't expect...
was a freaking commercial!
Red Bull gives you wings.
Advertise!
We pushed the boundary in terms of
Yes,
what
we
we
did.
can
Oh, you
achieve
will
with
be
our
there.
kin, and the new
Okay,
feature
Blinded.
was to
Hold on a minute. I gotta get my headset in. I didn't think you were coming on because of what you told me privately. But so far, I kind of agree with some stuff she says. I do. Like, I didn't think the episode was the greatest either. I don't think it was, like, masterful. I thought it was just, like... I honestly could say, when I was thinking back to this episode could have been much better. It wasn't, yeah. And they are going to get a season. They are going to do a season 2, unfortunately. They are probably going to do a season 2. And I would just end it with season 2. I would not, I know they said, the head writer, Leslie Headley, said, yeah, we got stuff written out for season 2 and potentially season 3. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think they're going to do a season 3. I think they'll do season 2, but not season 3. Oh, I'm probably done with the Star Wars after this for a little bit, Blinded, after this stream. But I will not be done with Grace Randolph and John Campia. It's a red rocket. If I do talk about Star Wars on here, it's probably like updates and stuff. That's all. Rumors, stuff like that. Updates, rumors, the typical shebang. Not about the show anymore. If news comes out, season 2 is official, yeah, I'll break that. But after that, okay, yeah. Just call him Red, man. Just call him Red. You don't need don't. Red, I'm your tribal chief now, buddy. You know what? Okay. I'm glad this is 23 minutes and Blinded. We're going to try to get this done by midnight, okay? Or something like that. We're going to try to get this done tonight. If we have to go over midnight to get this done, we're going to do that, okay? We're going to get over midnight. I'm not making 2 episodes of this. No. I'd rather talk something else next time when I make a next stream. I'd rather talk something else. Now where's the rest of the chat? Come on, guys. Come on, don't be afraid to come in. Well, don't be afraid to chat. I'm gonna give him 5 minutes. Yeah, once again, I'm sorry I'm late. But we're gonna get this done today. Oh, yeah, speaking of which. I don't know if I should do this. But what if I do a John Capia recap show every day in the afternoon? Not a recap show. How about I live stream Snipe John Capia's show? We watch John Capia's show live every single afternoon. For the hell of it. For the fun of it. What if that? Every weekday we watch John Capia's show together. Stream YouTube Snipe. Unfortunately, we may have to stop in between the stuff he says. Or maybe we could do like a John Cabot recap show. Or Grace Randolph recap show. I don't know. Who? Oh, thank you for following, man. Another follower to my X account. Yeah. Just need TikTok account. Just need 723 to go to get to 1,000. Once I get 1,000 followers on TikTok, I can stream on TikTok. Yeah. I hope WWE gives me something juicy tomorrow to take a minute clip and. Now I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you out of the way. If new people coming on to my stream, watch check out this first time this stream, my channel. This is not me hating on Grace. This is just me being objectively honest. I'll be honest with Grace. I'll agree and disagree with her. I'm not gonna hate on her. I will criticize her. I'm gonna do it with others with John Campia, but I'm not gonna insult her. I'm just gonna. We're gonna be fair. That's what we are. We're gonna be fair. Fair. This is not a Grace hating stream. I know it seems like everybody is doing streams on Grace or Campy or Movie Planets. It always seems like it's a hating stream. But I'm not told. That's not me. That's not me. We're fair. And now I gotta see this. Next week. Next week, man. Next week. I'm calling it next week. Next week. And obviously at the SDCC. That's but I'm waiting for Blinded to come on. Why can't I hear it? I was trying to look at what Hogan was saying. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find how. Why can't I hear what Hogan? Oh, whatever.
See what's called bleeding. Oh, that was cool.
And my sound just went out. My sound just went out. Or did it change? Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh my God. Oh, I was just listening to Hogan. Oh my God, that was crazy. I just listened to Hulk Hogan, brother. The guy is nuts. Guy is freaking nuts, man. Nuts. A nutcase, Hogan. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I got a little off track, but it's funny. Waiting for blinded.
When a Sith turns a Jedi's kyber crystal red, pouring all their dark emotions into it, corrupting the crystal. I kind of liked that.
I want to hear that again. Next month for D23. Oh yeah. That's a better. You're right. I would say yeah. Thinking about I want to hear that Grace Randolph say that again about the crystal, the cyber crystal turning from blue to red. How she said it. I want to hear it again because it's pretty funny.
Expect was to see what's called bleeding. Oh, that was cool. When a Sith turns a Jedi's kyber crystal red, pouring all their dark emotions into it, corrupting the crystal.
Corrupting the crystal. I just had to do that. Hi, Grace. Welcome to the show, Grace. By the way, that's blinded, guys. That's why it's taking long.
No, don't ruin the joke. I'm gonna come on here
sorry.
and have this like deep voice. Hey, everybody!
You can still talk like that. Do it.
Oh no, that's
Do it,
gonna
do
put a
it.
strain on my voice.
Of course, you strain. You won't be able to speak. But this is pretty
Yeah.
funny. I like mocking this. I like this.
Yeah,
I
I
like
gotta
this
say,
Darth
Grace
Plagueis.
was right.
Darth Plagueis
I'm
I like this
sorry,
part
is my
blinded.
Grace.
favorite character. But
I
anyway.
like this part blinded.
So, but what we didn't expect was to see what's called bleeding. Oh, that was cool.
I did like that.
When
yes,
a
I did
Sith
like
turns
that.
a Jedi's kyber crystal red, pouring all their dark emotions
And I guess
into
it
it,
Dark
explained a
emotion.
problem that we
corrupting
had too.
the crystal.
The crystal.
I kind of liked that. So that Osha is becoming a Sith. She's going to become a Sith who
Yeah.
will wield the corrupted
did,
lightsaber
RJ, I
of the
just saw
Jedi
it.
who wronged.
What just happened?
Oh,
Oh,
Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Hogan did
Oh, at the I see the comment. That's funny, bruh. Oh man.
I had to watch it I watched it while I was waiting for you.
Yeah, this is gonna be my last Star Wars stream. This is gonna be my last Star Wars anything. I'm no longer going to acknowledge Star Wars after
We're gonna
this.
talk-
I'm fucking done.
Like, he'll be for our Star Trek episodes.
I'm becoming Darth Blinded. That's my next
You
motive.
should change your name. Change it to your name. Change it. Jesus, that should be your new name.
Darth. Yeah, I just can't anymore. I'm sick of the discussion on both sides. This is just not for me. The only way, well, I mean, I won't. I mean, that's like what, a year from now, Andor.
Oh, Skeleton Crew.
No, I'm not watching that. I'm not watching that.
Right.
I'll watch the Mando movie and
Red. Well,
why
I'll
is
get
Darth
you.
Plagueis? I thought he was
This
dead.
is before. This is before.
Well, he put a sarcasm.
Oh yeah.
He's got the /S on there.
Oh, I have to understand Red's humor. He's mostly sarcastic. I have to.
No, I feel like everybody should now just put the /S because, like, yeah, the texting on anything is just, I don't like it. But
I should know. I know Red how he is. He's like that on Tony's stream too.
yeah,
Her, killed her mother.
You know what I thought was gonna happen? I thought she's gonna turn on Soul in Crimea and go by herself. But like go solo with her sister. That would.
oh, that would have been cool.
That's what
I mean, I don't mind her going to with Quimir. It was like, yeah, it kind of made sense. I didn't think May going with the Jedi made sense. I think that wasn't fleshed out all that well.
That's because she had her memory loss and she was confused, so they took her.
Yeah,
out.
and that was also another thing too. Can someone explain that? What was that about? Like, it was just like, oh, I'm gonna wipe your mind like what, they don't know? Like,
they
that
can't
scene was kind of confusing to me.
I guess it's because you might as well wipe out your memory out of you, the recent memory, because maybe Crimea knows that the Jedi could go into her mind. So wiping it out, the Jedi wouldn't be able to weren't able to extract information from her, I guess.
I'm gonna say I guess because yeah, they had this whole long discussion, and I was just like, what? What?
Yeah. But I guess you can't get them. All right.
Let's
She was
continue.
yeah.
and turned her to the dark side. That's pretty nice. I'd be like, that's downright freaking poetic. I thought that was
If it's poetic, it rhymes, as George would say.
Yeah.
good. And considering what was done to Osha, I do believe she was wronged the most. So she kind of got a happy ending, like sort of, right? Like she's sort of a Jedi. I mean, it's pretty
Kind
close. She's
of.
got all
I mean,
the
she still doesn't have her
accoutrements.
sister,
She's
right?
not a Jedi. She went to the other way.
Well, I don't think she really cares about being a Jedi after what
No.
happened. But I think she would at least want to be with her sister. That was the part that seemed like. That's why I was like, oh, okay, so they're mind wiping her. So what? This May could stay alive?
Yeah.
Mm.
Um.
Don't ask us. I feel like we're the wrong
Yeah.
people.
Ask somebody like Degrassi. He knows a lot more about Star Wars than us. I can tell you that. We're like.
I am
We're-
no longer a Star Wars fan, so I have no
We're-
clue about any of this shit anymore. So yeah.
We're like. I'm I'm more a little bit more knowledgeable with Star Wars than Blinded, but I'll consider myself more of a
Yeah.
casual Star Wars person too. I'm not
I've
like.
over these past few days, I've mind wiped the last few bits of Star Wars from my mind, and I'm just going on with my life.
I don't know how big his head. Like, who cares? How
Just
big
like
his
May, you know, at the ending of this episode, they mind wiped me of Star Wars memories.
And I'm bringing her back for this
No.
episode, for this day, for this night.
Oh
Right? She
yeah,
gets
I
to
guess
wield
there
the
was a little bit
lightsaber.
inside of me.
And you know, it's almost like a
Yeah.
Sith are a combination of the Jedi that she had always wanted to be and the love from her mother's coven. It's like she's honoring both in some kind of twisted way.
What? No.
I could see what you're saying here. I mean, yeah, she's not a Jedi, but she's also allowed to do whatever she wants. Well, I mean, she's kind of like a Jedi, and she can do whatever she wants. That's what I
We
meant to
really
say.
don't know. I mean, Crymer says he wants to be an acolyte, right? Like, wants an
Yeah.
acolyte, but we don't really know his true motivation.
I mean, if they were to do a season 2, I guess they could do the flip
I
side.
said-
I mean, would you want to do the flip side of this story? Like, oh, here's the like mental, physical toll that is taken on by being a Sith. Like, I mean, if you think about it, even though we had the prequels, we never really got to see like Vader as a protagonist. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Vader as, you know, Darth Vader in the originals, like from his point of view. We never really got to see that in a movie or in a show. I know there's the comics. They have the
but that's not canon.
yeah, but you know what I mean, like a TV show
Yeah.
or live action.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah.
What they should do is have season 2 and just kill them both off. They die in the same battle. They kill each other at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mick.
And I kind of like that. But how is Osha the most powerful between the two? Like as a child,
I don't know
May
where
was
she got
clearly
this
the
from.
one who was more powerful. I mean, maybe Osha
Does it
is
say
the
who
most
is more powerful than the other? I don't think it did.
No, I'm just
She
surprised.
just did that. Yeah, she did the force crushing thing.
I'm surprised she's
then-
more powerful soul. That's all.
I mean, I feel like wouldn't they be both equally powerful? Like, there's not one that's more powerful than the other since they're one person. I mean, I don't know.
I would figure May should be the one more powerful because she's the one kind of. When she'd be trained more by Crimea than Osha. But I guess Osha what?
Well, I mean, May was the one showing better signs of
I don't-
grasping the force than Osha did at a young age. But
Yeah.
yeah, who really knows? I don't know. This is just a minor pick. I seen this video a couple of times now. I guess for preparation for this, because I was gonna come on for this, but yeah.
I don't understand. Like, who cares who is more
powerful
powerful?
when it comes to being a Sith because she has the most hate, anger, and sadness. And that's also, that's just freaking beautiful, man. I mean, I like that. There's more to discuss about this episode, and we will, but I think the big question that everybody wants to know now is, do we want a season 2? I mean, I just said I kind of like some of the stuff that happened with Osha. But I have to say, I would not greenlight a season 2. I mean, the ratings are in the crapper. There's your answer right there.
She says the
I'm not giving
ratings
you
are in the
another
crapper,
200
but it's in the
million.
top 10.
Yeah, it's where 7.
But this is
6.
minutes viewed, right?
Yeah.
So, and she also said like the count minutes views based on seasons too. So, I mean, the fact that people are watching it.
Also,
I mean, like there was a lot of Bridgerton, The Boys, like yeah, that's pretty popular. Sweet Tooth has
look at
second
look at the
season.
date. Look at the date. It's June.
Yeah, this is
3 episodes.
June. This was no, it premiered June 4th, right? So this is
Yeah,
like
3
in its
episodes.
early weekday. Yeah, it's early week to its
Yeah, it's
second week.
It's 370 million viewed, but with 3 episodes.
Actually, no, that's its second week.
Yes, 6,
Yeah,
10 to
second week
60.
to yeah.
Yeah. Um, uh, we'll get when everything comes out. Full. We'll see when an update.
Hold on, I gotta get something quick.
Okay, we'll see. Well, guys, we'll definitely see when we get an update. Nielsen streaming on this. Oh wow. All right. All right, man. Let's go back. Okay, we're waiting for Blinded to come back. I mean, it wouldn't be fair to continue out without Blinded. Blinded will come back when he'll tell me when he's back.
Almost done. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, he'll be back, guys. Oh. Oh, well, 10 people. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's good. Thank you for coming in. Thank you all for coming in. How old? I think she's in her 30s. I think she's in her 30s, Grace. I don't know. You know the saying is, never ask a woman about her age, right? Never ask a woman about her age. Yeah, so we'll continue on. I do think they'll probably get a season 2. They're probably just waiting for. If it's not Comic-Con, most likely D23. Star Wars usually likes to do D23. So most likely D23. So I expect D23 we'll see Yes, I do, Red. Red, you detractor. Red's my number 1 detractor. He's my number 1 detractor, Red. All right. Oh.
Back.
All right. I'm going to do the exact same thing when she does the pig one.
I guess. I mean, the thing is, with these rating stuff, I mean, now that Disney and some of these companies do release their numbers, I would like them to put them out so we can compare them. To be honest, I mean, I'm not gonna watch a season 2, so obviously I'm gonna say no. But at the same time, just if people want it, and do a second season, then wrap it up. You know, like like I don't know. Do I think it will get one? Honestly, I really don't know. I really couldn't tell you.
I just hate TV shows that set up tease for his next season when it's not when they know their shows are not good. It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
To be honest, I mean, there was a lot of threads unanswered, but I
yeah.
feel like I feel like, it's okay. Like if
She
it was
said
to end it, I know people are obviously gonna be
you
disappointed,
you
but
watched the stream yesterday. She said Marvel and Star Wars do this thing where they tease and tease
well,
all the
because
time.
that's the only thing Star Wars could do.
And
Star Wars
Marvel,
is
yes,
not
I
in
know
the
well.
business of I
Yeah,
mean, if Marvel is like leaning on this cameos, I mean, Marvel is the one that pretty much invented the whole let's set up the sequel, right? Do a post-credit scene. This is you better come for the next movie, but Star Wars I feel like is just how can we keep people coming back by showing them stuff like favorite characters. I mean, there's a reason why there's a meme of this. It's called Gulp Shittio, and I will
yeah.
continuously I like that whole meme is just personifies why yeah, I'm like I'm just getting tired of Star Wars. I mean to be fair, I did watch the show in its entirety over Obi-Wan, Book of Boba Fett. Um I mean I did watch Mandalorian season 3, but after that season I was not going to watch another one. I'll watch a movie because it's a lot shorter, but
I
I'm
think
not going to sit down and watch an
thing
entire
is,
season.
the thing is, if Mandalorian movie is good, that might change your mind by watching the season 4.
Yeah, I mean, I would say yes. Yeah, I mean,
That's
I could
probably the
always be
reason why
persuaded.
it's not. It's probably the reason why it's not greenlit because we have a movie.
Well, I also wonder. I mean, if you're gonna do a movie, would you want to do a season 4? I mean,
That's
has
true
that?
too.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably an example. I don't know, but I mean, that's not super common. I feel like when a TV show gets movies, it's like we'll do a movie and then that's kind of it. Like it's a big
Yeah, that's a
finale.
conclusion.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, right now, yeah, I would say if I had to, I mean, if there's one thing I would like, if they announce this, I would come back and watch it because this has been on my mind. I really want to see a Star Wars anime,
I mean, they
made
could.
by like a Japanese creators, like, because I feel like there is something. I mean, Star Wars is very influenced by, Seven Samurais, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
I can never say the director's name. Or I can never say the director's name.
Zack Snyder.
I'm just really bad on fucking names. Okay, I apologize. But his movies. I do like some of his movies.
I'm
And he
kidding.
makes. But yeah, Seven Samurais is the one that everybody keeps mentioning, right?
Yes, yes.
Um, but yeah, I would like to see. I mean, that vision. Like I think if there was like one thing that I really loved from Star Wars was that first episode of Visions, because it's like, damn, there's so much fucking potential, man. Like the visuals, the characters, like I just love that little short that they did, like, which is crazy. That's like everything else. I just, man.
Did I put spoilers in my title? Oh no, I
Did
did.
you? I don't think so.
Who cares?
Let's continue.
$1 million. You
I
didn't
did
deliver.
last night though,
But anyway,
or Tuesday.
also the only way I would do a season 2, if I was tempted, if I was like, I do like the dark side, if I would totally replace the creative team. I'd be like, these characters are coming back, but none of you people behind the camera are.
This
And would that
I would
upset the few
say
fans that the show has?
I would say if that does happen, which I highly doubt it because
Yeah.
Leslie Headland was the one saying that she's written multiple seasons. But if they just took her, I don't know, her scripts or like her outlines and did another season with like a showrunner that has like, people, has some acclaim and credits with something that's kind of close to Star Wars, then maybe I would be like, eh. I mean, I
Yeah,
watched the first season, so
yeah. Grace, that's not happening. I mean, that's not. But yeah,
Has left. So nobody would be happy, right? Like, I'd be like, maybe I'll take Osha and Kamia and whoever else they're hanging
Yeah.
out with and give them to somebody
Right.
else to play with. But to what end? Also, these characters are so far in the past. Like they're during the High Republic. So I can never really use them unless I invent, well, they do seem to have time travel, right? I mean, who knows in today's
Do they? I don't
Disney
even
Star
know.
Wars. But I can't use them with the rest of the Star Wars characters. So
Yes, you can. There's
Well,
Yoda and there's
yeah,
Darth
Yoda.
Plagueis. And Darth
Yeah, but
Plagueis.
they're not. But I think she's saying like more beloved,
Oh,
widely, by the general public, right?
well, Yoda is though,
Yeah, definitely Yoda is. Yeah.
and people. I mean, Darth Plagueis you can't say is generally loved by the general audience, but maybe just people are more intrigued now. The idea of Darth
Yeah,
Plagueis.
but I mean, Darth Plagueis, I feel like I don't know much about Darth Plagueis
There
besides
is not
that
much
one
about him.
line
There's not.
from what is Revenge of the Sith when he's at the
Yeah,
podium
Princess Smith.
talking.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, like
that's
the
the interesting
story's
part.
cool. Honestly, this is another problem. We might have mentioned this. Like Star Wars always has this tendency of over explaining things. Like,
Yes, they do.
why not just keep things a mystery? I'm not. I know fans like hard. Like this is what I mean, right? There's like a section of Star Wars fans that read the comics. They love Legends. They just love everything Star Wars related. And I feel like most people are not those kinds of people. Like you talk to any like most people just watch the movies and that's it. Like they're not collecting, they're not reading the comics, they're not reading the
So,
books. They're pretty like, oh yeah, Star Wars, Luke and Han Solo, and then you have Darth Vader and you have the prequels and the new stuff. And I think that's really it. Like some of this other stuff I feel like I'm just like I keep saying me because I feel like I fall into that, but I don't know. It's just at this point, that's why I say I don't know if I'm a Star Wars fan. Do I like Star Wars? I have no clue. Don't even ask me. Let's
I
continue.
really don't understand the point of building out. I know that this is Star Wars' new thing. They don't have they can't build it out into like different. They could though. Like Marvel has played with genres, but for some reason, Star Wars has decided to build out the timeline.
Yeah.
I think that
most of the stuff, the timeline is all over the place. Like us, right? Like Mandalorian's after Return of the
Yeah,
Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
Obi-Wan is like a couple years after Revenge of the Sith. Ahsoka is after Return of the Jedi. Boba Fett
Hmm.
is like after Return of the Jedi. This is before Phantom Menace. It is all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, Marvel. I mean, they do have some of the movies in different timelines.
But Marvel was pretty straightforward with their
Yes, they
timeline
were.
until,
Yes,
Endgame.
yes. They're pretty straightforward. Yeah. And there's only a couple movies in Marvel where it took place. I mean, Captain Marvel was like in the '90s. That's all I can think
Hmm.
of. It's the only movie I can think of for the Marvel MCU that's took place.
Yeah, it was a prequel, which I mean, it didn't do them any good either. But yeah,
Yeah.
Star Wars. I mean, this is the thing, right? Star Wars. I thought Star Wars was more interested in progressing. Like, we had the original trilogy. Yeah, you did the prequels, but now, the sequel. Like, why not just go beyond the sequel trilogy? I keep saying this. I would like to see a movie, something that's like totally divorced from a lot of this stuff, or like you can mix it in some
Mhm.
interesting way. But I don't know. And now I'm like, people are gonna hate me, but I feel like a lot of the stuff Ryan Johnson was saying, I feel like, yeah, I kind of agree with him. Like, the whole idea of Star Wars is just like it's just the same. Like people say that about Marvel, but I always say the difference is Marvel has characters that people love, and so you could get away with the same plot as long as it feels like the characters are somewhat progressing or
hmm
doing new things, and then, by the end of the movie, okay, back to status quo. But with Star Wars, I mean, you told Luke and Han Solo and Leia story. We've kind of seen some of these characters have a complete arc, and yet somehow we're kind of like going back to them. Even if it's in cameos, it's like, oh, now Luke is in Mandalorian and he's training Grogu, and you're like, okay, I mean, I couldn't it
Anymore.
couldn't have been somebody else, a new character, someone we could get attached to, but you know.
Yeah.
It's dumb. It's not working for them. I don't want to go this far in the past. I think prequels are complicated. And also, Star Wars just keeps repeating itself. You're like, we
Yep.
went back like hundreds of years, and it's pretty much the same. You know, just like they went into the future, and you're like, wait a minute, it's still the rebels versus the Empire? And they're like, yeah. And you're like,
Someone should
really
have
where we
like a
were,
saying
man.
about
Let's just
Star
flesh
Wars
that out.
where it's like George Lucas was always about like it's poetry and it rhymes.
Hmm.
But I feel like the Star Wars itself is just like stanzas, right? Like lines of poetry that is just the same. It rhymes, but it's all the same. It's all talking about the same thing. You know, like yeah, it's cool that it rhymes, but are you saying anything? Are you doing anything? Isn't that the point of a poem? Like entertainment should be new. I feel like it should be what ideas can we excite people? What are characters and conflicts and action like, you know,
Yeah.
what's new can we bring to the
Let's
table?
just, I guess they're gonna just. I would say just stick to the Filoni verse. But a lot of people don't seem to like the Filoni verse. The ratings are a little soft
Yeah.
there.
That's a Filoni. Oh yeah. Well, some
Yeah, the
stuff
Clone
Filoni
Wars and yeah.
Oh yeah. Some stuff with Filoni versus is a hit. Some it's not.
Yeah, but I think like they're not. I mean, yeah, they have their fans. That's definitely not going to go away anytime soon.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would probably just aggravate people, but yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, they're not as bad as this, but they're not much better. So I'd be tempted just to totally start from scratch and just
Grace
be like,
is
I
Grace
just
is a
close the door
fan
on all this and be like,
of the hashtag reboot Star Wars. That's my hashtag reboot Star Wars.
Some of those characters are not even the Filoni verse.
Which ones? I'm not even looking at the. I feel like aren't most of these
The fourth,
Filoni
the one,
characters?
the fourth row on the right. He's in Obi-Wan. That's not the Filoni verse. The Filoni
Oh.
verse takes place after Return of the Jedi, the Mandalorian stuff.
Wait, who are you talking about exactly?
The fourth
Are we
one.
blocking the fourth one to the right?
Oh yeah. I'm blocking. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I can't see that character, but
Oh,
yeah.
your freaking avatar's blocking him.
Yeah, my avatar
He's
is.
from Obi-Wan. I don't think the Obi-Wan characters are from the Filoni verse.
Well, I think she's saying is that because it's like a before and after, so is that character from an animated show? Because there's a before.
That's from. I think he's from. He's one. What are they called? He's from the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. He's with the. What are they called?
Yeah, I haven't watched
Work with the
Obi-Wan.
Invaders. I
So.
forgot what they're called. They take orders from Darth Vader. Shit, Degrassi, help me out if you're still watching.
I don't
I'm
know.
pretty sure-
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Filoni verse is part of the Clone War, some of the clone stuff and Rebels, and after, and Mandalorian, starting from Mandalorian too.
Right. Man.
I don't know, like you, man. We're not exactly the best. We're not exactly the best at breaking down Star Wars.
No. But I mean, we are
that
here
was
critiquing Star Wars.
interesting.
Yeah.
Let's go find some new Jedi and Sith. Because, Khmer was so exciting for one episode. So, or two, actually, when you count the end of episode 4, when he floated down like a little dark angel.
What?
I thought he was a
Uncool this
consistent,
episode. It was kind of like,
Yeah.
even though
when
we
you think
weren't
you're
like
dating
a
this
fan
cool
of
guy,
him
and then
being
suddenly you
the stranger. I thought he was pretty consistent. Yeah, I didn't have a problem with him in the show.
Thing is, the Sith tend to deceive.
Yeah,
realize
that's
you're
what they're
not.
trying to do.
Kind of like
Yeah.
All right, so yeah. So yeah. I saw the back of Yoda's head. But dude, keep Yoda out of this shit. Don't leave Yoda alone. Poor Yoda, he doesn't need this. And we've already got Grogu. How hard is Disney Star Wars going to lean on these little guys? And this show, by the way, I have to agree with
Yoda's probably here because the Sith are back. Probably that's the reason. and she has to tell him about the Sith. I think that's the reason. That's I think. That's
I
the reason.
don't. I guess I don't know. It was just kind of like a quick moment anyway.
Yeah.
Some of you, now that it's over, it really did taint the idea of the Jedi. And for what? Why did we do it? Like, David Harewood finally showed up as the senator who's no fan of the Jedi, and he made some valid points. I thought it was particularly damaging when he compared the Jedi to one of those sketchy churches that don't pay taxes.
Oh, you think? Do you think? You know how they made videos on the witches and how that's me and all that stuff. You think you're gonna do that the same with this part, this scene particularly? The exact same stuff, because that
What do you
stuff
mean?
was wild. Yeah, remember that stuff was wild a couple weeks ago with the witches and there's some people took it as offense to.
Again, not all that stuff is just absolute nonsense, right?
You think you're gonna do it for this part, completely from this scene?
They're gonna complain about this scene about the church. I mean, the church should pay taxes.
No, not the church pay taxes. I don't think about watching your video. I'm just talking about the scene in particular, because you kind of implies is that religion. They could take it as religion does brainwash. They could take it as that.
Mm.
You know, they could take it like that, and
Yeah.
it's a way to justify your actions with, right, stuff like that, or control.
In
Justify
terms
your
of
actions.
wait, so like the religion is
Yeah,
dictating your action? Is that what
yeah.
you're trying to say?
Like sometimes people use religion to justify their actions, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Oh yeah, then yeah, I feel like, I mean, isn't that what the show is kind of also alluding
Yeah.
to too? Because it's like Soul is kind of projecting a lot of like the, being emotionally stoic to a girl who is emotionally stunted
He's
at
kind
a
of
young
like,
age.
yeah.
So it's not a good recipe for sure. But this is why I have a problem with the show, and something that I was like, watch some people, watch some positive stuff, but I just I think it's kind of like who's it, it was what Soul did bad, yes, but at the same time, I feel like having him have this like really bad punishment, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. One, I like the character, and I did see him as a flawed character, but I also feel like, did he need to die for what he did, for something that was clearly a poor mistake that was very complex? It wasn't like he set out to do this because he's evil or because he wanted to destroy the girl's life. He thought the girls were in danger, and I still think that he was defending himself because what was that witch doing? It just, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's the point of the show where you're like, oh, you're supposed to be conflicted, but I don't know. I had an example. This is kind of like if, and I know this is obviously controversial too, but this would kind of be like The Last of Us killing Joel at the ending of the first game, when that maybe should have been, a second game. That should have been another plot point because there's a lot more to explore with the consequences of what he did.
Yep.
Like there's just you could write about it and just go on and do so many different things with it. That's why I'm like, what's the point of exploring something so complex if you're just gonna whittle it down to just nonsense?
They're gonna milk that plot about him, about his death on HBO. I mean, they're not gonna kill him off a season. Probably like at the end of season 2 or something, because they're
No, they're gonna. I still think they're gonna kill him off within the first episode. But just like in the game, Joel is not. He's dead, but he's still in the game. Like there's flashbacks, and like Ellie is always like seeing him. So I don't know. It's just, yeah. I still don't like that ending of this show.
I was like, they should pay taxes. Because the truth is, I don't think the show put forward one admirable Jedi. They were either corrupted, lame, or, I'm sorry to say, just nothing special. I mean, I too thought that your
Well, Jedi are nothing special. I have to say that.
Yord and Jeki's deaths were incredible, but that was just their deaths. What was really special about them as Jedi?
Nothing.
I mean, I feel bad saying it because I know some of you were fans of them, and I thought they had potential. But when you look back, there's nothing special. And then you add to that how Obi-Wan was watered down, Luke Skywalker. So, I mean, he had that one cool moment at the end of like what, Mandalorian season 2, right? Or
Pause.
Boba Fett or something.
Sorry, I was muted. But why does she feel bad when she's criticizing the show? It's her opinion.
Yeah.
People could take it or leave it. We got to stop with this bullshit, man. The show, I mean, the show has, the thing is, you know, what Grace does is, even though, yeah, we disagree with her, and sometimes she's just a absolute loony, right? And just talks about things that just make no sense. But her whole claim is that she's analyzing the show, she's looking through its themes. Like, I'll give her credit where it's due. Like, as much as we have problems with her opinions, I still think I personally, you know, wish more reviewers did what she was doing, which is sitting down, taking notes, and going over the movie, whether it is the cinematography, whether it's, you know, the acting or the direction, you know, because I mean, as someone who I went to film school and studied film in parts, those are the parts I liked. I always liked talking about movies in a analytical way. Like, what is this trying to explore? Even if it is a Marvel movie, right? Because when you actually sit down and think about it, some of these quote unquote popcorn, blockbuster, stupid movies, they do have something to say. And
Yeah,
I
Marvel
think
does
the
that,
people,
yeah.
yeah, and I think it's kind of unfair
Comic
because
book movies in general do.
yeah,
Most of
I mean, not all of them do, but at the
them.
same time, there's still people creating this stuff, and to act like, yeah, there wasn't some intentions. Like, I don't, like, yeah, I don't like stuff, and I may criticize it harshly, but I don't really have any ill will for these creators,
I mean,
right? It's like, you know,
if you
and I
watch
feel like opinions, just say your opinion. Like, if
if
people don't like it, they don't like it.
if you watch an X Men movie, yeah, you can say it's a popcorn movie, but there's always a message behind an X Men movie, right? Like, and same with the Marvel movies. There's always a message behind them. Batman. Well, comic books in general, blind. There's always a message behind a comic book movie, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's always gonna be like, like movies and stories, they're gonna have to have themes
Yeah, themes. Yeah,
because then people would just get bored, right? Like
yeah.
it's because I feel like I'm not a sports guy to be fair, but like the reason why I don't like sports is because I just feel like it's not super stimulating. Like I just I'd rather play basketball or play soccer or whatever, right? Because it feels nice and feels competitive. But like if I want to watch something, I want to watch a story because I feel like there's, you know, afterward you're gonna, me and my friends would just have hour-long discussions. Like me and my friends, like a group of us, 5 of us, just sat down and talked about the final season of The Boys for like 2 hours because we're like, we just love the show. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
Hmm.
go, oh, what are they gonna do next? And you know, one friend has this idea, and then I'll be like, I don't know, and then someone else pitches in, and you know, or oh, what about this? Like, that's what we do here. That's what I find fun. So yeah,
But then he got lame. And then Ahsoka, they sucked out all of her personality. And then
yeah.
Ezra. Oh, I was so excited when he showed up, but he wasn't given anything to do. It was just really, it's really unfortunate. Like, I
Just one
really
note,
support the
boring.
idea of broadening who is a Jedi. But now we've
Yeah, because the Jedi's have no personality. We say this all the time. They have no personality. They're so boring most of the time. Like, seriously, like
I have to
Yoda.
wonder too, because I go back to George Lucas. Did George Lucas really wanted to have these types of Jedi
I don't know.
continuously in Star
At
Wars, or
least
was this only for the prequels? Like, or
Yoda has
you
a
know what I
sense of
mean? Like,
humor, but like they have
say that
no.
again?
Yoda has a sense of humor, but that was him pretending to
Yeah, but
deceive them.
even Yoda's not like,
Yeah,
you know, like Yoda's kind of like the old hermit, and he's, you know, that what's kind of makes him interesting.
It is.
But like, would I want to see? They were trying to make a Yoda movie, no?
Yeah, I don't think that
Like,
would
it's
work.
just,
Honestly,
yeah,
I
it's
think
just, I don't think that would work. It'd probably make a lot of money though.
Yeah, just they don't have they don't. I never see a Jedi laugh. I see him do the smile. I do see a smile, but it's a very small smile. It's right. But you don't see them laugh or do a large smile or like hug or anything. They don't show affection at all. It's like I know we're supposed to say they're teachers or stuff like that, but they're taking kids and young kids from away from their parents, where parents are meant to show affection to their kids. Yes, parents are supposed to teach them, raise them, right from wrong, all of that, which the Jedi is supposed to do, but they're also supposed to show affection. The Jedi don't show affection.
You, I keep saying this, like, emotions
Yes.
are part of storytelling. So if you have characters that are just constantly stoic, what's the point? It's just gonna get boring.
That's what the Sith are trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. It's just
Come on, man. Like for me, buddy. Don't go to the dark side.
go to
Crossed
the
over
dark
into the
side.
idea that anyone can be a Jedi. That's not true. I think anyone. I think that you don't know who's going to be a Jedi, but just, it's not just filling out the application. So I guess I want to see diversity in the ranks of the Jedi, but it still needs to be a calling. It still needs to only be for the special few. But the special few is not, any group could.
What should we move? The What's the diversity have to do with that? Ah, special calling is only a very few get the special calling to be a Jedi if they're force sensitive.
I think she's trying to say, like, like you want characters who are diverse in terms of their personality,
Oh
their
yeah,
background, and how they look. I mean, I think that's what diversity should always be. It should be a collection of ideas, people's background, and like their experience, right? And their identity is going to also make up their experience, but it shouldn't be just the thing that you hang your hat on. You know what I mean? Like,
they all act like Batman.
yeah, they all do. And Batman has way more emotional depth
Yes,
to him.
yes, because Batman has actually laughed in his comics. You can find snippets in comics where Batman has actually laughed and has made sarcastic jokes and stuff like that. Because Bruce Wayne secretly deep down does have a sense of humor. You just have to get it out of him.
Put forward candidate, I guess is the way to say it. I was totally cool and in fact excited about the idea of a few bad Jedi who had been spectacularly corrupted. This was just the way.
Spectacularly corrupted. They weren't really corrupted. I mean, yeah, they did wrong, but corrupted is like doing it on purpose. They had intentions to do this stuff, and they were. I think that's kind of a hyperbole, I would say. Like Olshot got corrupted. Okay, that's corruption. This I
Well,
would say that's just pure corruption.
I mean, sorry for the moving around, but I mean, I can see what she's talking about here. Like, like she wanted something that's more like juicy, like,
yeah,
oh, the Jedi did something like really heinous. Like, how could they ever do that? But here, I mean, the point of the show too is to explore their sense of morality and how it's very, it may seem glamorous or it may seem very intellectual, but it's really not because you're stunting these kids. And I think
yeah.
that's what the point of the show is. But do people want to see that in Star Wars?
The
I
thing with
think
the
they
Jedi,
might,
the
but
thing with the
it's got to be
Jedi,
told
the
in an
thing with
interesting way.
especially old school Jedi, they're very black and white. Very
Yeah.
black and white. That's their view. Very black and white.
But that may work for a couple of movies, but
Yeah.
you want to explore the nuances and the weirdness of that black and white, that
Yeah.
yin yang of how, like, the duality of the
And
world.
and that becomes gray. Like,
Yeah, I think parts of the show did well with that, but yeah.
yeah.
one of you again guessed, I loved it, the idea of the 4 horsemen of the Sith. Jedi, again,
Yeah,
as I said,
again,
who've been
I always had this
spectacularly
problem with her.
corrupted.
Don't, they're not the 4 horsemen. They're not
Yeah.
that. The 4
Taking someone's idea and then just like inserting it when there's no evidence to back it up.
What? Because they're 4 people? Because they're 4? Is that the reason?
Yeah, because there's 4 of them. But then she's gonna say something that again doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Or it does actually make sense what she's saying.
Do they represent the devil? The whole 4 horsemen of the apocalypse? Who's
I
the
don't
devil?
know. It was a bad idea. Whoever came up with that.
It is a huge stretch. It's a huge
Yeah, it doesn't
stretch.
fit. It just doesn't fit at all.
No.
How do you explain Vernestra? She's awful.
You can't.
And what's the point, by the way, of making Khmer her fallen Jedi Padawan? I'm sorry to say she's not even a good character. So why?
I mean, we don't know this for sure because this is also a potential storyline that you would want to explore in a season 2. But my guess is, again, to show that the Jedi have always been corrupted, or they're very skewed and they have emotional complexity to them, even though they say they're I don't even know, Zen. They're fucking, like we don't give into emotion, but they actually do.
I can see the judge being so upset that Khmer was whipped by a woman.
I don't even think they care.
Oh,
They actually might like Khmer more, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
I mean, I'm sorry because I know some of you like this show still. But like, why would I want more of her? I'm like, oh, thank goodness Vernestra's coming back. Not. I'm like, oh man, we can't replace her. We can't have like somebody else brought in from corporate. Like, she's no Michael Scott of the Jedi. Thank you very much. I just really don't like the character. And in fact, the connection to Khmer, even though we all guessed it, when they made it real this episode, made me think less of Khmer.
Well, Degrassi guessed it.
Oh man.
Episode
Yeah,
6.
he did. He did.
There's a lot of other people make the connection. He was right. Degrassi was right.
Mm-hmm.
Degrassi, the thing is, Degrassi, I don't know if you're listening to that. We know how Degrassi pays a lot more attention to us. He is his attention to detail for not just Star Wars, but for anything media related is on point. Like some of the best I ever seen.
The Jedi have just been turned into any old type of poorly run organization instead of the special one that they once were. They aren't even turned evil in a special way. Then, speaking of special...
Why were those Jedi turn evil? They thought they were just doing a mission to apprehend a criminal.
Well, that's what I mean. They thought they were going to build up to a big reveal, and
yeah.
I mean, that's also on the show too. I feel like because they did mark. I mean, this is supposed. I feel like mysteries in general will always have like a bit of like a 50-50 on whether people like what is being revealed. And that's why I feel like the one thing that is just true in general is that like people just like a good mystery. The mystery isn't really, people just want to talk about it and throw their own opinion into it.
This show made the mysteries too obvious. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, also I don't think they gave us enough clues or hints or red herrings or. Like they did a couple with the stranger for sure. And
after that, nothing. Like that.
Yeah, that's just sort of the main plot. I feel like there needed to be, sort of like every episode we were getting mysteries upon mysteries where we're like, oh, okay, I'm more invested. I know some people also may not like that too, but I mean you gotta keep people engaged somehow, and make it feel like entertaining. And allow that speculation. So, yeah.
We still don't understand what is so special about Osha and May. Like, if there's anything we should have had settled by the end of the season, it should have been that. As some of you correctly guessed, they are not even the Force Virgins themselves. But Mother Anastasia simply used the Force Virgins on that planet to create them, splitting a single life into 2.
Yeah. Yeah, Oh, convert virgin. I don't know.
The virgins.
The virgins.
Is it divergence? I guess.
Yeah. The witch did use the virgins to create these and split them into two. They're not really twins. That obviously explains in episode 7 when Torben took their midichlorian counts, whatever, and something was off. So that is definitely yeah.
Where did the single life come from? Are they a clone of Anastasia? Did she somehow combine her life force with Coral's
No.
to have literally 2 moms?
No. It's the Force. The Force is basically magic. It's the Force. Force is magic in the Star Wars universe, Grace. That's it. So
Yeah, but one day, I mean, I bet it's already explained and we just don't know it, but one day they'll like fully flesh it out.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like they don't want to. It's like what do people know? The Force. Well, what is the Force? How can we add on to it and explain it more? Because how else are people gonna watch Star Wars?
Everybody used to think the Force is just used by Jedi and Sith, right? Like if you don't watch if you don't know anything about Star Wars, but you just watch maybe the movies and stuff, you think the Force is just used by Jedi and Sith. Nope, it's used by other users, Force users.
Yeah.
It's basically a form of magic. That's it.
I mean, also it's kind of like supposed to be like, like it flows through you. It's almost like
spiritual magic.
It's very like spiritual and it's supposed to be reflective, but
that's what the Jedi think of as the Force, kind of like spiritual, right?
Yeah, but they never really. It's always just the Force.
That's the whole religion thing, I guess.
I feel like they should, because don't explain its origin, right? Don't over explain it, but I feel like they need to incorporate it in ways that feel
that might be the James
more
Mangold
spiritual.
Movie. That might be the James Mangold movie if it's true that it takes place way in the past about Jedi and Siths, whatever his movie about. I don't know.
I don't think they should explain the Force in that movie. It should be explaining how the Jedi came to be, maybe how like the Force has been used in the past, and maybe something that it's like, I think maybe there's something there, like something where you're not just like directly telling us this is what the Force is, because I don't know, like, it's a hard one. I think it's a hard one just because Star Wars, again, it's just it feels like you're like riding in a box.
Like, did they have a Jedi? I mean, did they have or any kind of donor? I don't I thought I liked it when they were the Force virgins, but now I'm.
And this, you're using Head and Shoulders, right?
Only when I see flakes.
You should use it every wash.
Think of it like this. Think of it like this. Wanda Maximoff. She created her kids by her magic, basically, right? Her reality magic. Just think of it like that, Grace. That's all you got to do. Just think of it like that. Just think of it like that.
Yeah, it just exists.
Yeah. Shut up, Red. I know you. Red, I like... Red.
Okay, keep going. And then they're like, no. But even if you don't talk about the parentage of Osha and May, but this is Star Wars. Parentage is kind of a big deal, right? Because they follow the lines of these families through these...
No, please.
Another thing that just cripples Star Wars.
Please don't do a freaking lineage, please, Grace. Don't have them. I know her point, but like I'm talking about Star Wars. Actually, it's not the Grace.
But she's right, though. I mean, like it's with Rey, it's continuing a lineage, even though like
it's not even real. Not even real. Her lineage. It's not even her lineage.
But even if even with the Luke Skywalker connection, she was still connected with Palpatine.
I mean, I understand why she would take the Skywalker name. She doesn't want to be associated with Palpatine.
Right. It's still pretty silly, though. It's like
it is silly. It is.
And it's just like, I'm gonna. and I get that, like, yeah, the Skywalker is supposed to
But
be this like new.
but Luke kept his father's name. Hey,
Yeah, he did. Well, that's because he was like,
redeemed.
my
Technically
yeah.
redeemed. It's like, oh yeah, I guess after Rise of Skywalker, uh, I guess be going around maybe other planets, other villages, and other planets, ways like usually the way Palpatine would send not exactly be received welcome in other planets or other
Yeah.
cities and other planets because of that last name. I guess that would be the reason why. But it still sounds ridiculous. Just keep Ray. I don't know. Do you really need a last name? Just make up one up.
Hmm.
You, Ray, Ray, Ray Rand, Kyle Rand. Basically got married. Just call them back. Oh no, she would have been Ray Solo. Hey, take the Solo name. I don't care. No, they'd be like kissing a sister.
No, just why not just come up with a new name? This is your identity. This is.
Yeah, just keep Ray something else. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It just. Yeah, like I said, I keep saying this, but like, yeah, every time we end up talking about even the Rise of Skywalker, I'm just like, man,
That's the
I really should just make this the retirement when I end talking about Star Wars stories and stuff. Because I like the George Lucas and the history of making Star Wars and the filmmaking aspect to it, but I'm just sick of talking about the stories. I just feel like I'm being like pulled in crazy directions. It's just
don't blame you, man.
Hundreds of years, centuries. But just the idea of why did Mother Anastasia want to split a life force into two? Why? What's the benefit of that? Still not explained.
Don't overthink it, Grace. Who cares?
Is the show trying to say that we all have a little good and bad in us? Except if you separate it into two individuals and then one's good and one's bad?
but they both have a little bit of good and
Both
bad
of them,
in them.
yeah.
So yeah, that doesn't even track.
There may be separate individuals, not technically twins, but there's still
Yeah,
there's
I mean,
not
I
like a
think
good one, not a bad one.
overall, what Grace is saying here, I agree with her. Even though, yeah, that point doesn't make sense
Yeah.
because they have, as we explained. But yeah, what is the point of the characters? Like, if they're one person, what is that supposed to represent? I'm going to guess. Let me guess. Oh yes, that's going to
Dark
be
side, light side.
explained in a second season. But it's like, like. Like I just you you had one season where you could have explored that. I mean, they're the protagonists, and it feels like this is more about it's more about like, I mean, I would say it is kind of an origin story, but it's like an origin story of like that's seems overplayed out.
Yep.
Like it feels like maybe it could have been structured in a way where this is like something that the main story is an overarching story and that they have like mini goals in the season or in different seasons, and like each season they're progressing to get to the answer, but it still feels even saying that, I'm like, man, that sounds like a mess. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, they try to tell the story as best as they could, but it's just flawed. It's
Yeah.
really hard to like look at this and like see like where you can fix it, because it almost feels like when you fix it, why even bother making the show? It's kind of like you need to have like the blinders on to make the show in general, because yeah, I think it's overall it's a good idea, but does it work? I still don't know, because I would say it does, but then it really doesn't. It's muddy.
Switch who is good and who is bad. So it doesn't make any sense. It's so frustrating. One of the only things that really would have brought this home for me, where I would have been like, okay, we have to continue, would be if Osha and May had combined back into one individual.
I thought that's going to happen with the hug, but it didn't.
I would have been like,
Yeah.
oh, that's crazy, man. We got to keep
Again,
going.
I think that's being
But
set up for
no, they
multiple
just
seasons.
literally-
That might be
Yeah.
the
The end game. Yeah, I wasn't expecting them to do like. I mean, you gotta have some mysteries left over. That's what I'm saying. It's like
They're gonna.
what mysteries should have been prioritized for resolving in a first season, and what ones should have been left
Yeah.
for multiple seasons. I feel like, yeah, I think they should have just explained a little bit of, or not explain, but like really show us where is this Virgin's heading. Is this going to explain Dark Plagueis? I'm going to assume so, because it's like, well,
I
why
think she
is he
said that.
there?
Yeah.
Did they actually come out and say that is Darth Plagueis?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't believe so.
Really switch places, which is very frustrating to me because I'm like, man, I do not want to do this again. Like, it's so hard to discuss this show now that it's ended because it's such a mess. I know a lot of you will be like, it was a mess from the beginning. I didn't
Well,
think
it's
so.
divisive.
I could see maybe where they were going, but then they didn't go there.
Yeah, it's
But
divisive.
storylines and emotional through lines are now just so hopelessly knotted that, you know, it's hard to compartmentalize what's going on even on the show. You're like, oh, but now that bleeds into that and that. I mean, and not in a good way. You're like, this is just a mess. Why did May suddenly want Saul to face justice for his crimes instead of death?
I said this.
Why couldn't she go
Yeah,
with
you
Khmer
did.
and Osha and they all?
I never understood that. It just it almost comes out of nowhere, and you're like, this entire season she's wanting to kill these Jedi, and then she doesn't want to. But then at the same time, she was trying to kill Saul in the last, what was it, 6, and technically this episode. So you're like, well, what was going on? Like, why did she make that such a crazy decision? It just felt like. I mean, it would have been. It makes sense. She goes from wanting revenge, and then, there's supposed to be something in between that happens, and we didn't get that. It
Yeah, it
doesn't
was
feel
supposed
like we got that. I mean,
there had to be something that changed her in episode 8 to change her mind.
yeah, like I think because that's why when she says this stuff, I'm like, what she's saying, I agree with, but
Yeah.
then you kill Soul, and that's why I'm like, what? Like, her arc, even though, yeah, the arc feels like it's missing a piece. It's like I agree with her. I agree with what she's saying. Like, why couldn't Soul be put on trial? Why couldn't he just continue to see instead of him dying? It just feels like the show is supposed to be more complicated, but then it just resolved. It's like, oh, this guy who made a terrible mistake and damaged this little girl. Yeah, we're just gonna kill him. Even though we went through this whole season trying to overcomplicate it and make it more complex, just for a simple, stupid resolution, like, and that's where the show lost me. It lost me there.
Trained together. Although we'll talk about the rule of 2 in a moment. Star Wars forgetting its own damn rules. But no, those things didn't make any sense. And now Venestra is going to use May to hunt down Osha, like Saul used Osha to hunt down May.
Yep.
I mean, there is a duality, but then there's also just repeating your damn storyline and making us have to sit through it again. I don't want to do that. And May, why would she turn on her sister like that? Like, again, they're like, oh, and also, if you wipe someone's mind down to when they were 8, wouldn't that?
Why would she turn on her sister like that?
Did
Maybe
she turn on the
because
sister?
no, she. Why
Oh,
would
like
why
in
would she
this
help
scene.
him, the Jedi? Maybe it
Yeah.
has something to do with that with Osha. Maybe Osha gets too out of control, too angry, too Sith-like.
Well, maybe it could be that and maybe she's kind of missing something here, like the fact that she is mind wiped, so her memory is
Yeah,
more
sure.
clear of what happened. Maybe she's going to now, like what's the green lady's name?
Venestra for
Yeah, she's gonna use that as a way to kind of cover up potential problems, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think she's more of a villain kind of a character, and which I mean, like I said, it's like it could be interesting, but you got Yoda wrapped up in it, and
Yoda wouldn't improve that though. How she used what she
yeah,
does.
but she probably doesn't know, right? He's not gonna know, so
Yeah, but like this is Yoda. He probably senses something. Like it's hard. I think it's hard to hide things from Yoda, though.
I mean, I think they could do different things with it, but it's just like I don't know. After again watching this season and then what happens to Saul, it just feels
Yeah.
like mm,
Yeah.
the same thing gonna happen to her once like she gets outed. She's just gonna get killed and there's no consequence. It's just we're just gonna kill them when they do bad things. We just kill them, even though we talked about how people are flawed and complex. We're just gonna kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That can work,
emotionally
but
bring them back down to that age. Like she just doesn't remember, but she's still. I'm like, there should be bigger ramifications than that. Like it just didn't make any sense. It just didn't work. And then so May is again the sisters aren't getting along, and you're like, oh man, again we worked so hard to get them back together. And it's as easy as Pip being turned to a different side. That Pip boy. What happened to
yeah,
Star
everybody
Wars
was
droids,
changing
man?
sides and
The droids that I know
Program
would have
to a
fought
different
that
side.
reboot.
the little
that system
mole
reboot.
thing
'Cause then
randomly
otherwise, what are we
just
even doing all this time?
I don't know what the
sides.
mole was doing. Yeah, yeah, like what
Getting
the hell?
falling in
Yeah, I
love
was
with
confused.
droids.
Like, what the hell was that? What the hell was what's his name? Bedazzled?
I'm still looking for an explanation for that because I'm like, oop,
Yeah, I was
I don't
confused.
really understand.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell was Bedazzled? What's his name? Bedazzled?
I
Basil?
try to like look at, I went on Reddit, I went on the Star Wars subreddit, I looked at, a lot of the comments, what people were liking about it, and I try to find comments about the Solo stuff because that's what I was, mostly on. But that rat thing or mole,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call 'em, everybody kept pointing out why did that thing just do that? It's just like
I'm like,
did
I'm
he
with
did
you.
he think he was gonna kill May? But how did he know that? I don't know,
He
man.
wasn't gonna kill me. He was gonna try to stop her.
Yeah, he was trying to stop her, so
Yeah.
Right? Like, shouldn't they have their personalities on a backup file somewhere or
Yes,
on the
they should.
cloud? Like, this reminds me of Terminator. This whole time, should we have just been looking for the system reboot button on the Terminator?
Yes.
So you like grab his neck and touch his thumb and he's gonna
Yes,
totally
that's great.
reboot.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. Back to factory settings, baby. Like, why didn't we think about that with Terminator? I mean, that just blows my mind. But yeah, I'm not too happy about what happened with Pip. All right, let's talk about the Sith. So yeah, I also saw Darth Plagueis in there. Or is it
So that's Darth Plagueis? Where's that from?
from a comic
That's a
or
comic?
like not a comic, like a novel.
He doesn't.
Because isn't that an old image?
He looks different. I mean, if that's supposed to be Darth, doesn't his hands look different in the? Like his hands look more monstrous. They look more human-like here.
I mean, the character design looks totally different.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I'm like, he looks.
This one, he looks more like Gore from.
Yeah, he does. If you really dig deep, he does look like Gore. You know what's funny? Blinded. Like, I did not say this, but I'm like, wait, what's Gore doing here? Because I thought it was Gore. I'm like, what's Gore from Thor?
Yeah, I just assumed this was Darth Plagueis because everybody kept saying Darth Plagueis is going to show up in the show. I hope he shows up. So I just assumed it was because I'm like, well, who's this creepy guy watching?
Yeah.
And then doesn't have anything to do with the episode.
I hope it doesn't look like anything down below because that is not a good drawing. Look at that.
Yeah,
nose.
this was just like a teaser. Teasers, man. Gulp Shidio moment.
Look at the size of the head. I know, man. I know, man. I know.
Yeah, the size of the head doesn't match. Yeah. He's got this one in the drawing has like a elongated head, and this guy.
He looks like he has a little bit of breast too, man. Like, what the hell?
I
Doesn't he?
mean, yeah, he could. The design looks weird as hell.
Wait, Darth Plagueis could be a woman.
Maybe.
Oh.
Would they lose their minds if it was like a
Yes, they would.
non-binary person?
Oh, wow. Yes.
Darth Tenebris? I feel like it could have been either one, to be honest with you, because they were in the shadow.
It looks. I don't know. The design doesn't look like either of them. I mean, they could change it because I feel like isn't this like. This is like legend stuff, right?
You know what
that
he
she's
also
showing
looks
here.
like? I know we say Gore, but he also looks like one of the Black Order characters from Thanos.
Yeah.
Ebony Maw? Maw? Is it Ebony Maw?
Is it Emily? Yeah, I think it might be.
He's the one who does like
The
he's one
casting spells, like he's kind
yeah,
of
he's
like
the magician, the magic, the sorcerer, right, of the team.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of looks like that too. I don't know. It would be kind of. I mean, for me, it would be funny if it wasn't any of these characters
You
and it
watch
was
it,
just
watch it not
somebody
be.
else.
Watch it not be. Watch
Because I'm like they haven't confirmed it yet. We're just kind of like everybody's
Assume.
just kind of like assuming that. So what happens if it's a different character?
Yeah.
I think it'll probably be Darth Sidious, but yeah.
Plagueis. Sidious is
Plagueis. I said
the bad one.
Sidious. Jesus.
Sidious
Whatever.
Sidious kills him in his sleep.
Right.
I don't think we're gonna see it in the series though. It's probably later on.
Yeah, Plagueis. Whatever. Let's continue.
Yeah.
Shadows. But everyone's saying it's Plagueis, so we'll just go with Plagueis. I mean, we got so little, like, who cares?
It doesn't look like the what's his name? Tiberius. It doesn't look like him at all.
I don't even know. Like this is what I mean. Like this moment, it's just like. I mean, I would be curious if they didn't add this.
Yes, it is red. He kind of looks like one of the Katina guys.
Who?
You know the ones who do the horn and have the trumpet, the big skeleton, not the big skeleton guys, but you know from the Katinas, they play the horn.
Oh yeah, he kind of does look like that. Yeah. The Cantina
Yes.
band.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like the Cantina band.
But no matter who it is, we know it's the Sith, right? So what is this next season? What would it be? Survivor Sith Edition? Because there's only allowed to be 2 at a time.
He's probably gonna ally with them and then probably turn on them. Because that's what Sith do. They turn on each other.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, I don't know how this would play out. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it would be kind of like funny, like I said, that if they didn't have these like teasers, like people would just be like, I question if they never put these teasers, would people want a season 2?
That's a good point.
Like you're like, is it just like you want a season 2 to see these characters that, you know, they're. I mean, they clearly are more beloved than the new characters
Yeah.
in this show. So obviously with Yoda.
Now, for those of you who don't know the rule of 2, it came about after the Sith massacre during the Old Republic. So there was the Old Republic, and there used to be a ton of Sith, and the Jedi, you know, I guess back when they were not on the defense, killed all of them. So they wanted to keep the Sith around, so they said, whew, boy, we are not popular. So we should only have 2 at a time so we can be in hiding. A master who will represent the dark side and teach it to an apprentice who craves that power. And eventually the apprentice kills the master, becomes the new master, and then gets an apprentice to start the cycle all over again. I don't know who would sign up for said cycle.
Yeah.
But they don't seem to have a problem.
That's probably because they're not told that. They don't know what they're signing up for. Yeah, that's true. So watch, Kymir, watch out. You're going to die at the hands of Osha. And one of these people are going to die at the hands of whoever, if it is Plagueis or the other guy. And then Darth Sidious, watch out, Plagueis. And that cycle, I think that cycle kind of ends when, actually kind of ends when Vader kills Sidious and kind of redeems himself after being a Sith. But Palpatine, we know, cloned himself. And Kylo Ren is technically not a Sith, even though he kind of ventured into the dark side, but he wasn't officially called a Sith. I don't
know. With recruitment. All right, so especially after they found a way to repurpose them with the Rise of Skywalker. All right, so what's going to happen here? Like, we can't have 3 Sith on that island. You can't even have 2 sets of 2.
Why not? You could do it. You think Sith have rules? Come on, Sith will break the rules.
Like Tenebris and Plagueis are like, should we invite them over for dinner?
He could try to manipulate them. That, you know what, we should try, you know, destroy the Old Republic, get rid of the Jedi, and try, you know, what Sidious does. And he could try to use them. We'll see.
Oh, we can go on. We
And then he
can go. We
betrays
can
him,
have
uses
couple
the betrayal.
friends. I love it. Maybe I do want a season 2, but they never give me what I want. All right.
No, they don't.
All right. So anyway.
Yeah, you want Morbius 2, though. Is that what you want, Grace? Morbius 2? I think they would have given Morbius 2. So.
Well, I just think everybody's. It's like I want them to do whatever story they want, but at the same time, they're not obligated. How do I word this? We're not. We don't have to watch this stuff.
No.
So I feel like, yeah, you should probably want to tell better stories if that's the case, and have something more meaty for people to hook on to, right? So
Yeah.
if you make a season 2, and people are not watching it, and it's just the hardcore fans, then you can't. I don't know. If a show just doesn't work and people don't watch it, yeah, it sucks, but I don't know. It just doesn't click for a lot of people, right? And this show is expensive. It is very expensive. So
Yep.
Why didn't they even at least use the rule of 2 to be why May couldn't come over with them? Be like, we'd love to have you come with us, May, but there can only be 2.
No, because May was not interested in being a Sith. She has no interest in being there.
I'm sorry. So mean. But I guess that's what
she's
Sith are like.
enjoying.
And also, what are we going to have here? A Sith Bonnie and Clyde? I'd be more into it if, again, they didn't look like an ad for Zara. And as I said, this was a tough episode for Kamir. I think he's a night villain. His look doesn't work during the day. You're like, oh, who turned the lights on? You do not look good.
I don't know
in the
what
daylight.
you're talking about here.
Also, as I said, not only was the fact that he was Vernestra's former Padawan, but the fact that he was still so shaken by her. I was like, you're afraid of that lady? I mean, I know she whipped you with her lightsaber, but I mean, I feel I could take Vernestra, and I'm a regular human.
Yeah, she's just we didn't get a lot of her, but I just get the sense that she's not going to be a very. She's not going to be a Saul or Soul.
No, she's gonna be she's gonna be a bitch. I can tell.
Yeah, you could just tell. It's just I don't know. It's she's super strict, and I don't know. I'm not if she's gonna play that line where it's yeah, she's flawed, and I don't know. I'm just first impression wise, I don't care.
She's gonna be like a Jedi you are, but you want to hate. That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah. That's why I would assume would they play into that or no?
David Harewood was certainly taking care of her. So I think I do not like this pairing. I think it hurts the character of Kamir. As for this episode's big lightsaber battle, a little too much wire work.
Why is
it makes him just look. It just makes him look weak. I think that's why.
But maybe he's still maybe it's because the trauma maybe he suffered from the whips and all that.
Yeah, she whipped him the imagery of a slave. Yeah, it was
an abuse.
You could tell that's what they're trying to go for. His back is scarred up, nasty. And she has a whip. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to see her she has a whip as a lightsaber, and then she whipped her Padawan. It looks bad. It looks really bad. It's even I don't want to compare it because it's emotional.
Yes, I know.
Emotional, you know what I mean? Emotional abuse. But whipping someone, the imagery of that and how I don't know, it just doesn't look.
It's like when you do something wrong and you get hit by when you used to smack kids with the belt.
Well, yeah, that's bad too.
Yeah.
That's another bad imagery. But I'm just thinking the slavery, how they were whipped in their backs, and her lightsaber looks like that kind of whip too.
Oh
it's
yeah. Your punishment.
But yeah, punishment.
Gone full Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I don't like it. I don't know how we got into ballet.
I liked
And
it.
they
It was
stripped
cool.
out the inventiveness
cool.
that
Not the
Khmer
May and
showed in his
Osha
first
parts,
battle.
though.
Also, a lack of force use. He was using the force all over the place that first time. Really, again, it's the bloom is off the rose of this date. I mean, there was a little force use to use like the way they usually do, just to get their lightsabers back. And then also, Saul did like a little cloud to fling off the lightsabers. I'm like, why don't you take control of the sabers? But he didn't. He just, and also instead of going for the kill strike, he just cut Khmer's blade. And you're like, whatever. I guess now you go on back to defense.
Yeah, you didn't kill him there because they have plans from the season 2. That's why. I guarantee you, if Khmer didn't have plans for Khmer season 2, I bet she would have died in this episode.
Yeah.
Like, they made such a big deal about how Jedi only fight defensively, but yet finally one decided to go on offense. And I don't really feel like it made that much of a difference. I wasn't like, oh, now.
Grace. Making the first move can be considered defense sometimes. Okay?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, depends.
Yeah. Offense is such. Okay. This offense is sometimes the best defense.
Now you've done it. Saul is in attack mode. I was like, looks a lot like all of Saul. It looks worse than Saul's defense mode. He was more effective as a fighter in defense. It wasn't as good as the Indara versus May fight or Saul versus May. It felt like the other Disney Star Wars battles instead of the fierce precision that we've seen on the Acolyte so far, and one of the few things that I thought has really set it apart. So that was disappointing that it didn't end with a battle that matched its earlier ones. Also, after the great sell of that Cortosis helmet and how it connects you directly to the Force, I did like when Osha did that weird horror movie and I was like, ooh, that was cool, right? But I felt it didn't, and also Khmer's.
Do you think Osha's going to get her own version of a mask like that? They do a season 2?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
His eyes turn black, just like with the Coven again. They didn't explain that either. You're like, whatever, you guys. It's like when you're playing with someone, they keep going like, oh, my force field was up. Oh, you didn't actually get me. And you're like, I don't want to play with you anymore. You're just making this shut up as you go along.
Probably happened to you, Grace.
All right. So anyway, I don't feel that the Cortosis helmet made enough of a difference in this fight. It just became a weird fashion choice. You're like, that helmet makes you look funny, man. Like in the daylight. Even he didn't even have his Cortosis gauntlet. He was using that in such creative ways in his first fight. And then here, it was just your typical lightsaber battle. Speaking of helmets, this one did not fit May. Why didn't they fix that?
That helmet was
that looks comically bad.
That helmet looked big.
However, it was a nice idea to have her try to hide in the rings of that planet. That was very pretty.
That helmet looked really, really big on her. It did fit her.
Yeah, I mean, well, to be fair, it wasn't her helmet, right? It was she found it on the ship, no?
That's true. That's true. She did. She did find the ship. It's probably meant for a male shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that makes sense. So it still looked ridiculous, but
yeah,
that's a great point. Something I guess Grace didn't catch.
I was like, oh, it reminds me of Ad Astra, which I thought was a good movie.
I do like
so
Ad
it was
Astra
visually
too.
stunning, but then it was also kind of scary when Saul, so hell-bent on getting her, went all Cruella de Vil and was driving into the ring. He was like, I'm going to get you. But then Basil tore up the controls. Was Basil afraid of crashing or something? That just annoyed me. And I thought Saul would lose his temper.
He brings up a point too.
Like,
what the hell?
I think that annoyed every single person.
Yeah. I'm like,
what the hell was that about?
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was, again, I was just like, why are you still in this?
I wonder if they put that in there if it was yeah, we really want people to root against Soul, but
there's no motivation behind it from Basil. Why? Because they never followed up on it.
I don't know. It was really random. It wasn't even needed to. I feel like they could have just she just got away and he got hit by a rock.
Agreed.
Agreed.
But finally, I would like to clarify that while I definitely fell out of love with this show, I still really think that the lead actors did a phenomenal job. I think that
They did
Lee
okay, I
Jung-jae and
would
Manny
say.
Jacinto
Yeah, he's
did
definitely the
fantastic
best.
work, and that Amanda Stenberg, who really was unfortunately put through the ringer because of this show, that's just so unfair in my opinion, because I think that she was just ethereal. I think she did incredible work playing two very different characters. She totally sold me on herself as twins. And then also I thought she looked stunning inside and out. I think she's a wonderful actress, really dynamic. And once again, Star Wars did not look after its talent. I'd say that this has been a problem in particular for its actors of color, but yet look how Rey was mishandled. Kylo Ren, Obi-Wan. Like,
All
the
these characters
ideas
are mishandled.
have promise. I think Star Wars comes up with good ideas.
I agree
Disney
what she's
Star
about to
Wars,
say
but
here,
the
by the way.
execution
I do,
is
too.
consistently bad. And sometimes it's really bad. And I think we're all getting tired of promises for another day that almost always these days ultimately become empty or are revealed to be empty promises. So, I mean, like, I was so excited, for instance, with Ahsoka, with the return of these iconic characters from Rebels. And it just never, again, it never materialized. They again leave you saying, like, well, maybe in season 2. And that's just, I mean, I'm so tired of watching these series and seeing the episodes and the minutes count down and, you know, being so nervous. Like, I think we all have that feeling of, like, do you have enough time left to do what needs to be done? And the answer is always no.
Yeah.
So it's just really frustrating. So, I mean, what do you think? Again, as I said, I know some of you did like this episode, so I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. But for me, after, you know, again, falling for really good, you know, promising promises, but that they ended up being empty, I just feel really let down and really badly burned, because it was really tough defending this show. Not even defending it. Well, I guess I defended it a little bit. But
She did defend it.
Just saying I liked
she
it.
did.
It was brutal.
Not a little bit.
And I feel like I backed Star Wars, but Star Wars didn't back up me. And it was tough. It was really, really tough.
Because, like,
So,
Star Wars is just so, it's just
I hope
so
that we can get this right,
polarizing. It's
because
just
I did
divisive.
enjoy
Like,
elements
you
of the
have
show,
one
as we
side
talked about.
of people.
All right, so what do you think? Share your thoughts.
Oh yeah, we
Oh,
don't
sorry.
Need to see this. We don't need to see this because she's gonna ask.
Yeah, she's just
Right
gonna.
across.
But I was gonna say, like, I guess to end it off, like, I don't know, Star Wars is just like, it's just so polarizing, and it's just like you just make the same points as just like these movies and shows just keep doing the exact same thing. And I mean, I gotta be honest, like I said, I didn't watch Ahsoka, I didn't finish Obi-Wan, I barely finished Book of Boba Fett. I only came back when Mando showed up. Mandalorian season 3 was beyond boring. It was like one of the most boring shows I've watched in a long time. Of just like repetitive, just like, you know, not a lot of good character stuff too as well. It wasn't interesting. Like, you could do the same thing over and over as long as, like, the characters, well, obviously you can't, but you need to have something going on with the characters. But it just felt like, you know, in that show, it was just spinning wheels. You know, Andor, I like Andor, but, you know, that's, you know, like, they kind of, it's not like it's going to continue. It's not going to be its own section of Star Wars. I mean, what she said was right. It just seems like, I mean, the people who really love Star Wars, they will always love Star Wars. Let's just be honest. Like, and the people who are these new chuds and always talking about woke this, woke, even if Disney Star Wars had the best writing, they'll always say that it's woke because that's their bread and butter. And let's be honest, I don't think they really want to see Star Wars get better. And this is gonna be a hot take, but I can't really blame them, because what else is there for Star Wars? Like, everything on the horizon just seems like, if you like the stuff that came before, you're gonna like it. But you know, I'm starting to question now too, like, watching entertainment that is just like, it's okay to watch like mid entertainment, but let's be honest, right? Most of us are busy. Most of us want to do other things too, and I just feel like why waste hours or 30 minutes on a show when you could be doing something else. And I feel like some of these storytellers forget like there's video games, there's comic books, there's other TV shows and movies. I mean, there's also
Yeah.
people doing other hobbies as well. It's like, yeah, like, or look at us. I mean, we do YouTube too. Like, YouTube is a hobby as well, right? Like, just making one video for me, it takes a fucking while. Sit down and edit, write it out, script it out, like,
Yeah.
and it's nowhere near. I mean, just like making a movie, but making a movie too is hard. The process is hard. It takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of people. Same thing with the TV show, but I mean, that's kind of the some things just don't work, and Star Wars is popular enough where I guess it'll be okay, but I do have to wonder, like, creatively, if they'll ever, I don't know, if they'll ever be something that I'm excited for, you know. I guess I'm not gonna lie and say I'm not gonna watch this shit anymore, but I'm not like damn, after this show, I'm not like, damn, I need a season two, or like, damn, I will need this shit now. You know what I mean? Like, not really. I
Yeah.
feel like 2 years until the Mandalorian movie, I'm like, you know what, that's good enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
2 years.
cleanser and watch other stuff, do other things. But yeah.
Yeah. Me
So I
too.
won't but let me see the trailer for the Skeleton Crew, but
I
if
don't
I'm
think
not
it's
feeling
out.
the trailer,
I don't think it
I mean
came
it's
out.
gonna come out eventually within
Yeah.
this year, right?
It
But
is
let me
out
see
this year.
that,
Hey.
and if the trailer looks okay, maybe I'll check it out, but I don't know.
Well, yeah. For me, I'm interested in Skeleton because Steve Urkel's in it. Well, the actor.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, the actor. That's but that. Let me tell you, Family Matters. There's a lot of bad history with that show. A lot of.
Yeah.
Oh, it's. But yeah, yeah. We're gonna end it here. I said we're gonna go over a little bit midnight tonight. Managed to get the whole
Mhm.
thing. With Grace overall, summarize it. I know blind spot. Kind of, kind of agrees with her. I agree with her. Most of the stuff I agree with her. And by the way, we'll probably do more of this with Grace and John Capia. Um,
Yeah.
September, we might do this with the Penguin show. With Grace.
With the what?
Penguin show.
How come you're going mute? It's like weird.
What? I'm not mute. Can you hear me?
Say that again. Maybe it's like muffled.
Oh, muffled. Can you hear me
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah. So I'm saying I might do this again with the Penguin show. If she
Oh,
would
with
be
the
listening.
Penguin show, yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
because like I kind of have to with her. Maybe with Campia too.
Yeah, she would. I think they're gonna I think she's probably gonna like that show.
Yeah, but I think she's gonna. I think she'll like the show, but I think she's gonna say stuff that doesn't make sense, and we're gonna have to kind of
Yeah.
correct her because you know how Grace is, right?
That's his grace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
uh, remember